don't wanna stop now. Oh, oh, don't make me stop now. Oh, hey, down on my knees, please don't make me stop now. I love, I love, I love with all my heart, and I can't stop now. Please, 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 oh, don't make me stop now. Oh, my heart is so crying. You listen while I talk to you now. Tell you what we're gonna do now. There's a new thing going around, yeah. And I'll tell you what it's putting them down now. Move your body all around and just shake. That's the way you do it now. All gone, gone, baby now. Shake, shake, shake it, baby, yeah. Ha. You shake it like a bowl of soup, yeah. You let it go loop it to loop, yeah. Put your hand on your hip now. Come on and let your backbone slip. Move your body like your hip and just shake. Got to have it now. Keep on pushing, baby. Shake. Got to move. Hey, a ring-a-ling-a-ling. Honey, shaking is the greatest thing. Ha. But if you really roll, you got to do the thing with the soul. Shake it with all your might. And if you do it right now.
RCA Records, and the hot part of the company was the Nashville part of the company. And there was an album that was coming out from a Nashville artist that was doing essentially kind of a crossover and a pop album, and it was really quite unique, and it exploded, and it really helped the company to regain its credibility in the market, but it was also a milestone for the artist. And then a few years later, I wound up at 20th Century Fox as a young man and running that company. We had the benefit of being able to release the soundtracks that came from 20th Century Fox. And lo and behold, I had to make the choices of which ones we would and we wouldn't. And there was a film called 9 to 5. And it wasn't too difficult a decision that that album needed to come out, and it did come out, and I think the rest of you know. The rest is history, as they say. So when we have started to think about, as we do every year, honoring somebody as our Person of the Year, I made a list when I started in 2002 on a napkin somewhere, if we could ever get this one or that one. And you know, artists are sometimes reluctant to be honored in that fashion, but this woman was on the list from day one, and we've asked, and sometimes when you ask, you receive. And so we could not be more delighted that Dolly Parton said yes this year, and that she is our MusiCares Person of the Year. It's the first time, yes. In addition to being thrilled that we're honoring a woman, we are thrilled that we're honoring for the first time someone from Nashville and from that community. So it's really a milestone in many ways. And so we're going to have an incredible night on Friday. I hope some of you will join us. It's a star-studded evening, as it usually is. But when we started to talk about having Dolly here for the week and the weekend, and what else could we do, and one of the things that I thought of immediately was, let's see if we can get an exhibit at the museum, because one would think that if Dolly said yes to that, we'd get some really cool stuff. And we know that she has her own wonderful operation herself with things and memorabilia. And so we had this conversation, and we were back and forth and hoping and praying, and well, sometimes if you ask, you receive. And Dolly said yes, and that's why we're here tonight. We're here to open the Dolly Parton exhibit at the Grammy Museum.
So, thanks. So, without further ado, the reason we're all here tonight is this amazing conversation that's about to happen. And one last thank you to Linda Perry, who is not only going to moderate tonight's conversation with Dolly, but is doing a number of things for the Grammy Museum this week. So I think Linda deserves a round of applause. So, enough of me, ladies and gentlemen, Linda Perry and Dolly Parton.
Everybody, how are you? Good to see all of you. Hello, Linda Perry.
Hello,
how are
Dolly
you?
Parton.
Look at our cute little girl there. We got a rock star here. We got competition already.
Yeah.
The two of us.
You do.
I know. Well, anyway, what a great honor this is to be here. I was out there looking at all my clothes. Well, that ain't all of them, but that's some of them, and it just brought back so many memories to me, even looking back at the old Porter Wagner clothes and when I started and how I got here, and now to have all these wonderful things happening. It's very humbling and very sweet. So thanks to all of you for allowing that to happen.
Well, I kind of wanted to, start by just saying, because I think a lot of times you can imagine somebody, especially when you don't know them. You see them on TV, you hear their music, and you can imagine what that character is like. And I just want you to know that all the beautiful things that you think about Dolly Parton, she really, truly is. This artist, this person, this human being has been a direct inspiration and has done so many, since we've met, I mean, we're so opposite, and she has altered my thought process. And I was on the red carpet we got nominated for the Girl in the Movies for Golden Globe, and this gentleman asked me, he said, how would you describe Dolly? And I said, well, just think of the sun. And she will shine on every part of your body and lift you up. So I just want you guys to know that about this woman.
Thank you. I'm sure I'm not all that, but it's always nice to have nice people say things about you. And of course, I had heard about Linda and her music, but I didn't know her either. But we really hit it right off because we both love to sing, we love to play, and we love the music, and we're kind of grungy and gypsy-like, and we really take the music very sincere. And I really felt her in my heart, and we really wrote some good things together. We were only going to write one song, theme for Dumpling, and wound up writing 6. And so we'll probably
In 2
write
days.
some more things. Yeah, but it was fun. So it's good to meet new people. I'm always amazed in my life that you think you've done it all, seen it all, met everybody, and then you'll meet these little people like Linda. And like she said, it kind of gives you a new inspiration because she's great with her melodies. I have a tendency to write so much, and a lot of my songs sound a lot alike. So she kind of got me out of a box on the melodies, and I really enjoyed that. So we've made a pretty good team. I don't know how long we'll last, but we'll always be forever friends because we really hit it off. And I'm sure no matter whether we're working on projects or not, I'm sure she'll be sending me a good melody saying, write me a song.
I
And
already
so
am.
hopefully we'll be at it for a long time. So I don't know what all we're supposed to do tonight. I guess we're doing...
I got.
Oh,
don't-
you do?
Yeah, I got this.
All right.
I got this.
Well,
Calm
then
down,
I'll let
woman.
you do it
She
then.
does so much. She's trying to micromanage this whole thing right now.
Well, I'm not, but
Yeah,
they sent me
look
out
at her.
here. I'm
She's
gonna do
taking
my
over. She's
part,
trying to
though.
top me right now. And we're both alphas, so it's like, together we can be a side. I don't know. Anyways.
Well,
So
between my hair and that hat, I don't think nobody's going to take us too serious, so let's don't. And these shoes.
like
But we can't
we're like
pick and
we're like
sing.
the new Matrix, actually. Somebody redo this movie and we can star in it. Well, what I was curious about is, I don't think you guys have seen it yet, but there's I think 32 or 33 pieces out there. I don't want to big focus on the exhibit, but I was wondering, out of everything out there, is there any particular outfit that's standing out to you right now when you were doing the walkthrough and you were seeing it? I think having a little bit of story to some of these outfits would be interesting.
Well, they're all meaningful. That's what I was saying. I was even surprised at some of the stuff they did bring because I wasn't expecting even from the very early days with Porter in '66, and that was before I was wearing all the gaudy stuff that I got into later, which I love. But on Porter's show, it was a very family-oriented show, and we did a gospel song every week, and we were sponsored by the Chattanooga Medicine Company, and we did our own commercials where we'd sing about, there was a product called Cardui, and it was for women's, at that time of the month, bloat, like Midol, I guess it was. And I was so embarrassed that I had to do that. I said, oh, God, please let me not have to do that, but I would have to do that. But anyway, getting back to that, when I saw those little things that they put, those 3 simple little dresses, and then I would walk over, saw the best little whorehouse with all that God, and then I would see the 9 to 5. But every one of those little pieces held a memory for me. And then they had a whole wall of all the album covers that I've done. I thought, Lord, have I lived that long? Have I done that much? How did I get that done? But it's like your kids. They all mean something to you. Some of them might have done more than others, or you might be prettier than the others, but they're yours, and so you love them all the same, right?
Mentioning 9 to 5 just now, it just made me it hit me because that movie was it 1970? What was it?
We did it in '79.
Yeah.
It came out in '80.
But it was all about women empowerment, and that was in 1979. And I would say, I'm not bringing this up for any particular reason. I feel like you've always been a leader, like you've always been way ahead of the game, and now to be here 2019. And a big surge of women empowerment is happening right now, and you're doing a remake of 9 to 5.
It's so funny. All through the years, 9 to 5 at that time, it did touch on a lot of good things that needed to be done, and it did help a lot, of course. It's always like, in the workplace, there's going to always be harassment, and there's people that, are going to work harder than others and don't get paid. I believe that we should all be paid for what we do. I think, I believe in all that. But for me, in doing 9 to 5, I wanted to do it because I wanted to be in a movie with Jane Fonda and Lily Tomlin. And I never had been in a movie, and I didn't really know what it was all about, and I didn't really care at that time, because I just thought that, it was great because it's the first time I'd ever been offered a big movie, and I had been offered before but didn't want to do it because I wanted to sing and record. And at that time, Jane came to me and said, would you want to be in this? And I thought, well, yeah, if I can write the theme song, I'll do it. That was part of my piece of business with her. So she said, well, but you're just really hot now as a country singer, and you'll get us the South. And I thought, well, that's good. So I wound up getting a little bit from the North and the East and the West, too. So I was really proud. But the way I looked at that then, I thought, well, they're big stars. And if it is a big hit, then I'll be a part of something big. But if it's a flop, then, it can be all on them. They won't even know I did. I could just go back to my singing. But seriously, it was a movie that made a lot of difference. It was not only making great points about equal pay for equal work and just harassment in the workplace, and of course, being a young girl in the business starting out, I dealt with a lot of that, but I could handle it better than most women have because I grew up in a family of 6 brothers. I loved my boy cousins, my uncles, my dad, my grandpas. So I loved men. So I always kind of understood the nature of men, and I never met a man that I couldn't kick his ass if I had to, if he didn't treat me with the respect that he needed to. So I didn't worry about that. But but 9 to 5 really touched on a lot of stuff, and I don't consider myself a feminist, but I'm feminine, and I believe that women should be treated with respect and be allowed to do whatever. And that's why it was great working with you as a producer. I'd never worked with a woman producer.
Perfect.
I know.
That was going to be the next segue.
And yeah.
And cue.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm talking too much, but you asked, so don't
It's
ask.
all about
I'll tell.
you. It's all about you. But that was going to say, it's like, because I didn't know. So when Dolly and I met, let me just tell you quickly about my side of this experience. So I get this call from this guy, Buck, and he's like, hey, I have this idea about bringing you on to write a song with Dolly Parton and maybe recreate one of her older songs. And I was like, holy fuck. He's like, are you interested? I'm like, shut the fuck up. And then he said, I have one other person, though, that I'm thinking that might be better suitable for the job. Like, on the phone to me. And I'm like, fuck you. I want this job. I will bleed for this. You don't have to pay me. I will do this. No, I am the person for this. So he laughed, and 3 days later, he hires me to do the job. So anyways, cut to, I go meet Dolly and in Nashville, and it was like this, again, this meeting her was like this, I just met my creative partner, and the fact that she told me that you've never worked with a woman before in the studio or as a producer or in writing too, right?
No, I write very little with people. I've written, I have an aunt that I used to write a lot with. But I really enjoyed, working with you as a producer, but I thought we got along real well with that.
Yeah.
And she just has such a clean mouth. And I really enjoyed that.
I asked
she was
her
only dropping those F-bombs because the guy backstage said, don't do it, Linda. So that's how stubborn she is, right?
I asked her one time, I go, do you ever, like, swear? And she's like, fuck yeah. But so the making of Dumplin', a question I never even asked you. So it was this really beautiful process that we recreated a lot of her songs, and then we got Sia and Mavis Staples and Macy Gray, and but I never asked you, like, who, like, I know because Dolly's so, like, she doesn't ever want to make anybody feel bad. That's not what I'm asking. More so, like, with all the duets, like, was there somebody that you, like, just, you had a better experience, or that you loved that process with them, or the song better? Like, what was your favorite one?
Well, that kind of goes back to like what I was talking about, those clothes. Because working with different ones, I learned different things. My first duet partner was with Porter Wagoner. And Porter, at that time, I'm sure a lot of you don't even know what I'm talking about, but I worked for years when I first started in 1966 with a man that had the #1 syndicated television show, country show that was out of Nashville. And he had a band, and they really were very popular. And he had a girl singer at the time, and she was going to marry and move away. So he had seen me on local television, and I had a top 10 record just beginning to start out it's called Dumb Blonde, Just Because I'm Dumb. Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb, because this dumb blonde ain't nobody's fool. And so that kind of has been kind of my philosophy there too. But Porter was very stubborn, and we didn't get along that well, but it was like a love-hate relationship. But he was such a professional, and I learned so much from him about how to perform, how to entertain an audience, and just how to present myself. So I really enjoyed that part, and we had a wonderful duet sound. But as far as total enjoyment, Kenny Rogers is like a brother to me, and I just loved how we sing together and just how we are. So I've really enjoyed, that's the only two big important duet partners I've had. I've recorded songs with different people. I did I Will Always Love You once with Vince Gill as a duet, and it was a top 10 record. That was fun because I love his singing. But I learned something from everybody. I try to find the good in all of them. I'm like a sponge. I just soak it up. You know, if they know something I don't, and I want to know it. But I try to just enjoy everything I do, because you never know when it's going to end.
Mavis and Dolly together was hysterical, by the way. It was like...
Oh, were you talking about what we did on our album?
Yeah, no, I was talking about the album, but
duet.
I love that story too. But you can bring it over to the album
Oh,
now,
yeah,
just
all
like
the
those
girls,
duets,
yeah.
like because you haven't done a duet with a girl either, right?
No, I
Yeah.
haven't. Well, I mean, I used to sing a lot and still do. I would have Alison Krauss,
right.
who's one of my dearest friends, and Rhonda Vincent, who both sang on our
Right, you
album.
did the
I said I
bluegrass
have to
with
get
them,
the
right.
bluegrass with them. But I really enjoyed singing with the girls, and like you said, I hadn't done a lot of that. And then we did Dumb Blonde. We did a remake of the one I was talking about with Miranda Lambert. And then with Sia, and you brought a lot of these people on board.
Sia here, if you guys haven't had a chance, the album is Dumpling, but all these really great duets. And it's really powerful because, again, as a producer, I freaked out with Dolly because, you know, it's very rare to find a woman, especially, that can keep her original key, because what happens is you start just losing your voice. Dolly is like still in her original key, and it's like she might as well be down there tying her shoe, and she comes up and sings, and it's like butter. It's like she's hitting these notes, and I was shocked. And I can barely get like a 30-year-old or 20-year-old to sing a song in one day. Dolly walked in and sang 6 songs in one day.
Yeah, I wrote them.
Yeah.
I knew them.
Touche. But that's very impressive. So my other thing I just wanted to talk about is your work ethic. I mean, literally when you hear people say hard worker, Dolly is an extremely hard worker. And more so, like when I was born, I just knew I had a thing, you know, and I lived my life to suit this thing. I wanted to know, when did you realize, like, how did you know you were a star?
Well, I still don't know that I'm a star. I really think I'm a workhorse that looks like a show horse, and that's the truth. Because I don't think of it in terms of that. I always wanted to just be really successful. I wanted to travel. I wanted to wear pretty clothes. I wanted to have nice things, but I wanted people to hear my songs. I wanted to have them hear me sing them. But I started singing on local radio and television back in my hometown of East Tennessee when I was 10 years old. My Uncle Bill used to take me around because I played and sang all the time. My mother's people were very musical, and most of them sang in churches and at funerals and all kinds of functions like that. So I just started, as soon as I learned to play that guitar, when I was about 7, I started writing some serious songs
Where'd you
after
get
that.
the guitar?
Well, one of my uncles gave me the guitar. It was a little baby Martin, and another one of my uncles taught me how to play it. And every time anybody would come around, I'd learn new chords, and everybody played instruments in our family. And so that was just natural. I just kept doing it, kept writing and kept singing, and I just wanted to sing for anybody that would listen. And that was my dream when my uncle took me to sing on a local radio show with an audience like you. I was up here and I was 10, and I had my little guitar, and I got up to sing, and I sang an old song called Just If You Want to Be My Baby. It was a George Jones first hit song. And I sang it, and everybody started clapping, and I'd only planned the one. At the end, they kept clapping, and my Uncle Bill said, well, just sing it again. So I sang it again about 3 times. And it was then, right after, when we were walking through the parking lot after that show, I said to him, you know what, I think these people liked me. I think I might ought to do this for real. And he said, well, I think you should too. And it was kind of like that. And ever since then, I just kind of loved that attention. And I felt like maybe I could do it. And so I just kept dreaming, and sure enough,
And
here I
then
am.
did you start writing right away?
Yes, I started writing. I wrote songs before I remember it. Mom used to keep things because I had a gift of rhyme. I wrote a song about a little cob doll I had called Tiny Tassel Top. And it was because my dad, we used to, we were real country people, and we lived back in the mountains, and we grew our own corn, and we would have to shuck it, and then we'd have to, take it off the cob, and Daddy would take it to the mill and grind it up for our cornmeal. So we had all these cobs, and so Mama had I'd got this cob, Daddy had taken the hot poker in the fire and made some little eye holes in this cob, and Mama put the little tassels back on it, made it a little shuck dress. And I loved that little doll, and so I wrote, like, little tiny tassel top, I love you an awful lot, hope you never go away, I want you to stay. So, like that. So that was my first song, and that's where I could play the guitar. But anyhow, I just love to write songs and rhyme stuff.
And then there's a scene in the movie, and I loved this story, so I'd love for you to tell it. So there's a scene in the movie where they're
You're
talking
about dumpling. They may not even know.
Yeah, well, I'm just telling them. There's
Okay.
a movie. It has nothing to do with that. It's just because I loved this story. So there's this scene in it where they're talking about red shoes. And then so we write this song, and then Dolly comes back with this incredibly beautiful song because she had this extremely great connection to the song, to the red shoes. So I would love that for them to hear that story, because I don't think that's one that's been out there a lot, has it?
No, it's true. I wrote about it in my book years ago called My Life and Other Unfinished Business. I'm still working on that one. But I remember when we were kids, there was a whole bunch of us, and they used to bring, the county used to send up a county nurse to give us shots and polio vaccines or whatever it was. And they would bring up boxes of scraps and clothes and shoes for the country people up there, not just my family, but all the people who lived around on the mountain. Well, there was these and I was little, I was probably maybe 6, 7, and there was a pair of red high heel shoes, and they were kind of like these because they had a little arch, and I thought they looked like they'd fit me. And so I wanted those shoes. I grabbed them out of that box, and I was going to run home with them. They said, no, those are grown-up shoes. You can't have those shoes. And I said, those are my shoes. And so anyway, I cried. They let me have them. So ever since then, I had this thing in my head about red shoes. And so I wrote this song, Red Shoes, for the movie, and there's a line in that. The movie's Dumpling, by the way, with Jennifer Aniston. I know we've been out promoting it. It's on Netflix, but we're doing a lot of different stuff here, too. So I didn't know if a lot of you knew that Linda had produced.
Oh, yeah. I was just maybe, I was bringing it up because one of my favorite things about Dolly is the storytelling. So to me, I just want to hear you tell the story because that's the exciting part. And there's so many in all of your lyrics. Everything's so detailed. You really set up. And how did you figure that out? How did you know that just to set up the story so you literally feel like you're in with you in the experience?
Well, I'm a writer. You think
Well,
about
I know, but a lot of people don't
well,
write
I know,
that
but
way.
everybody ain't a writer. I'm talking about a writer, a story writer. In fact, one of the things I'm excited about, I have a new Netflix thing coming on called Heartstrings, and it's songs that are based on stories I've written because I love to tell stories. And I have to paint the picture. I have to be in that. And then, of course, when I talked about the red shoes, I didn't want to tell the whole story about the county and the welfare and all that. So I just did it like my Aunt Lucy, who's one of the characters in the movie, that she used to let me walk around in her red shoes up and down the stairs and around the wraparound porch, and kind of repainted my childhood and like a favorite person of mine. And then I drew in like the gospel part. My grandpa was a preacher, so in this particular song I managed to get pieces of my life, from my church, the simple background and the relatives that you love and the people that you meet that make a difference in your life and that can literally change a child's life. So I just put myself in those stories and just paint it like a picture.
But do you understand that it is very, like, in this, when people write songs, they don't get so precise, and that's what makes it so good. That's what makes your songs so classic, because there's just such you're automatically identifying to your story, even though you've never lived it. Like, you make people feel like they're in the room with you in this experience. And I just think that's a very rare and very, very important thing for, how many, like, under 30 people, or how many under 30 in here? I love this one. What is your name? You come here for a second.
She's under
Get over
30.
here.
Yeah, get up
Come
here
over
with
here.
us.
Come
Tell
on,
us
come
who
on.
you are. That's
Get up
about
here.
how old
We
I
want to know
was.
you. Come here. What's your name?
My name is Gracie.
Hi, Gracie.
No.
Know about Dolly?
Mhm.
What about?
That she made Dollyland. I think Dollywood.
What'd I do?
Dollyland.
Oh, Dollywood. Yes, I did. I have a theme park.
Mhm.
Is it great?
Mhm.
She keeps inviting me to go there, but then every time I want to go, she says, "Oh no, that is closed then."
But sugar. So when did you go? Oh, before the fire.
Okay. What's your favorite Dolly song?
I don't know.
We just put her on the spot. Please give it a hand for.
Oh, Jolene. You know,
Jolene.
come over here.
All right, come on.
Come
Go
over
give
here
a
with
hug.
me. Do you know Jolene? Sort of. Let's sing it. Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 Jolene. Please don't take him just because you can. Hey, you got red hair like Jolene. Flaming locks of auburn hair. Well, thank you for coming up here. I'm glad you're here. And I love your jacket. It's got music on it and everything. And you can come to Dollywood anytime, okay? We're going to be opening again in the summer. We'll
There
see
you go.
there.
All right.
Always hawking my goods.
See? Spontaneous. I couldn't have written that. Okay, so now I just want to get to Music Cares, because this is an awesome honor. And I just have to read it because I can't remember all the people. But Music Cares, Dolly's being honored.
I'm
You
so
have
honored.
Garth Brooks, Trisha Yearwood, Katy Perry, Pink, Miley Cyrus, Shawn Mendes, Willie Nelson, Casey Musgraves, Lauren Daigle, Vince Gill, Don Henley, and Mavis Staples.
Yay! Sounds good.
Did you guys know that? All these people? How does that feel?
Well, it feels great because it's like, first of all, it's a wonderful, wonderful cause, and I've been hearing about it for years, where all the money goes to all the musicians to help with their medical needs and any problems that they have. We have a similar thing back home at the Grand Ole Opry. It's called the Opry Fund, and we try to do concerts every year to keep money in that, because musicians don't usually want to do anything but musician. They want to sing, they want to, and they're really kind of lost when they're out of work. So I think it's a wonderful, wonderful cause, and to be honored like that is great. And they're trying to make me look more than what I am, but I'm honored to take it, and I just feel so proud to be part of the whole thing and to raise money and just to be acknowledged for my body of work through the years. And so it's wonderful, and the exhibit that they put out there, it's like I feel kind of special, and I just really thank you for that.
Like
And I
you would think
appreciate it.
she's only been doing this for 2 years, how humble she comes across. I mean, it's again really refreshing, but you know, you're pretty fucking amazing, and I think that you can allow that you're awesome, and thank you.
Well, you never know. You know what? I remember I used to think when I was dreaming about being all that I have been lucky enough to become, I used to wonder what it would be like when I was older, and if I accomplished things, you know, how people would remember me. And so I remember thinking all that. And now that I am older, it's really humbling to really be able to sit here like this, because you never know. It makes me feel kind of funny sometimes just to talk about stuff, or just people just keep on saying good things, which is nice. But I just really, more than anything, I'm just proud that I've been a decent enough person to touch people's lives. Every day I pray that God will let me do something to uplift mankind and to glorify Him. And that's really, and just to let me have a good time, you know, while I'm doing it. So I really appreciate all the good stuff that's happened to me in my life.
So now we have some questions. There's 5 questions out there. Where's my people? And they're going to, there you are, right there. There's a microphone right up there. So
You can have mine.
5 people that have them, or you can take Dolly's. You can. Well, get up here and ask. There.
Who are the designers you work with most?
Well, Kmart, Target, Costco. Actually, I've been blessed through the years. I am not you know, thank the Lord that nobody's ever held me responsible for being a fashion horse. I just wear what I want to wear. But I've really worked with some good people. For what I wear during the day, I wear a lot of stuff off the rack. But I've had 3 great designers in my life. Tony Chase, who was the first person that used to design all of my beautiful beaded gowns when I really started, you know, going high glamour and all that. And, of course, he passed away some years ago with AIDS, and I really missed him a lot. Then Robert Behar came along, and so he's been doing my clothes for years. And Steve Summers, who's been working with me now for about 20 years, he does everything. He coordinates my clothes. He designs a lot of stuff. So I've really been blessed to have, you know, those people. But I don't, you know, we just dress me according to what I feel like wearing and what I'm comfortable in. I don't try to follow any fashion things. They're always saying, oh, don't wear those shoes with that. I didn't mean that for you to do that. I said, hey, these are comfortable. Or don't wear this with that. I said, well, I have to wear what I wear. So I just kind of mix and match it and do whatever. Did they tell you to ask that? Did they plant these questions?
And then we have some more over there.
Sure. Hi, my name's Eric. Hi, Dolly. Hi. What was the inspiration for Backwoods Barbie, the cover art?
Well, the cover or just the whole
Well,
song?
specifically the outfit, I think.
Yeah, well, actually, I am a backwoods Barbie because I love to dress up. It's like I really, the song says, I'm just a backwoods Barbie, too much makeup, too much hair. But don't be fooled by thinking that the goods are not all there. And don't let these false eyelashes lead you to believe that I'm as shallow as I look, because I run true and deep. So it's really, you know, it's just really about a country girl wanting to be glamorous. And when I was little, I just wanted to be pretty. I wanted to have stuff. We didn't have money to buy makeup. My grandpa was a holy roller preacher, and he didn't want me wearing the makeup anyway. So I would get pokeberries, paint my lips. I'd squash up those touch-me-nots or those honeysuckles to make perfume. And I would just find ways. I'd strike Mama's old kitchen matches, those wooden ones. I'd make my eyebrows and do whatever. There's always having to wash stuff all over me, but I just wanted to be pretty. And so it's just a country girl's idea of glam. It's kind of what the Backwoods Barbie, I thought it fit me pretty good. It also got used in the musical 9 to 5. Dora Lee, little character that I played in that, she sang that song, and it kind of fit her as well. So it's just about that.
Okay.
Hey, Dolly.
What?
Great to see you.
I told you to wait in the truck.
Oh, man. I will, too. Let's go party.
What? Come over here. I can hear hear you.
I said, let's go party.
Oh, okay, let's party. 2 doors down.
Baby, I'm burning. Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
your exhibit out here, do you see any outfit that you thought, I'm going to wear that again?
Well, you know, I do wear a lot of my clothes. In fact, every once in a while when we go, I have a museum at Dollywood, my theme park, the one you like. It's called Chasing Rainbows, and I'm always going up there, and I'll say to Steve Summers, I say, can you get that outfit back out? Because I'm going to wear that another time or two. Because somebody said I never wore an outfit twice. I usually don't wear a real special outfit, like something I might have worn on the Oscars when I got nominated, but I will rewear. But yeah, there's a lot of them I'd like to get out. But yeah, I'd wear them. I'm still gaudy.
Hi, I'm Renee.
Hi.
Which one of your films did you most enjoy the costumes?
Oh, the costumes, best little whorehouse in Texas, no doubt. But I mean, well, my first movie was 9 to 5, and I always said and then my second one was Best Little Whorehouse. I made a better whore than I did a secretary. So it really fit my, the way I like to make up, and I had to dress down for Dora Lee. So. But I enjoyed all of them, so they're fun. But definitely I loved all those clothes in the Best Little Chicken House. That's the name of a movie. I wasn't trying to be dirty.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Ty.
Hello.
And hi. I am just curious of the costumes you contributed to the show that's here. Which one represents your favorite milestone in your life?
Which one does what? I'm sorry. I didn't-
Represents your favorite milestone or experience?
Well, a lot of those are back at my other museum. Like the ones from like the Kennedy Center Honors and things like that. So there are different ones that represent different times in my life. And honestly, everything that's good that's ever happened to me is always important. But there are just some of those things that you think, well, this was a real special time because so-and-so said so. But anyhow, I just feel real honored to have worn those for all the special occasions that I did. And they're all special.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, question I had was, so now that, you have all this happening in your life, you've got your, here you are, like, do you have, like, a mistake or a decision or something like that stands out, like where maybe you would have, changed? The reason I'm asking that is because that was asked earlier in this panel. And I was sitting there going, if I think about my mistakes, I don't know if I'm evolved enough to handle, what the mistake caused. Because then that means that I'd have to look back at everything and then start changing things in order to be where I am now. And I'm pretty happy with where I am today. So I was wondering if there's anything in your career as extensive as it is there anything that you would have gone back or done differently? Because I know you live in let the chips fall where they fall, but which she taught me said that to me, is so simple, and I've literally been living that way since you said that. But is there anything in your life, in your career, that you're like,
Well, not really. I've thought about that, and I've been asked that a lot through the years with different interviews. Because I really think if you changed one thing, it would change everything. Because everything I've ever done, even if it looked like a mistake to somebody else, and even if I paid the price of it as a mistake, it seemed like the thing I was supposed to be doing at the time. So I can't honestly say that I would do it any different, because it could change, something else. Because I try to learn from it. I don't look at it like mistakes. I look at it like stepping stones or things that I've done. I only regret if somebody else has been hurt somehow with some decision that I've made that I felt was right for me, but somebody else, kind of maybe got hurt from it. That's the only kind of thing that I would wipe out that hurt, but I wouldn't change that situation, because I can't think like that. I don't think we can think like that. We just try to do better and learn from everything. And just any time I even had things to fail, like for instance, years ago I did a variety show, and it wasn't what I wanted it to be, and I wasn't able to be my own self in it. There was too many other people involved. It was my own fault, my own decision. But I looked at that, it was really touted, going to be a big thing, highly promoted, and millions of dollars spent, but it just was not good. And I was just not happy doing it. But I didn't dwell on that so much as I tried to take it apart. And that was one of the big things that, was a failure, I guess you'd look at it if somebody else thought it like that. I thought, well, why didn't it work? And so I would try to take that apart and think of what all happened, why it didn't work, and I knew a lot of it, but I just tried to apply that to other things in the future. But I learned a lot, met a lot of great people, learned a whole lot of things about it. So I just try to look at things that don't work out the way you might have expected or hoped they would, but I try to learn from that and apply it to something more and do better the next time.
And how do you get...
No, that's okay.
How do you get there? Like, again, Dolly's one of the most positive people, very humble. Like, again, you're like, to me, like the sun. You just shine down. Like, how did you get to that? How did you become that? Like, the way you are to me is almost alien,
well,
because...
there's your answer. I'm an alien. I'm waiting for that ship to come get me any minute. And I'm ready to go. Hallelujah. Ha. No, you know what? I just have, I'm a very sensitive person. But I'm a sensitive person, and I'm a songwriter, and I hurt like everybody else. I try to see things as they are. I have a very strong spiritual base, and I have good friends and a good family, but I really am comfortable with who I am, and of course I hurt. I have to keep my sensitive self alive. I can't harden my heart, because then I couldn't write the way I write. I couldn't relate to people the way I do. I've often said I don't harden my heart, but I try to strengthen the muscles around it, because you have to in this business. But I just try, if I see things wrong, I just try to do what I can to make it right as quick as I can, or at least to do the best I can. And people are always saying that, Dolly, you always look so happy. I said, that's the Botox. And my accountant's, my business manager's right down here, so he knows what I'm talking about. He gets all those bills.
It's all cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching.
He's always saying, Dolly, you just always seem so young. I said, but I have really aged my plastic surgeons. Right, Todd? But seriously, I just try to have a good attitude. I just, I know we all have a light in us. And I always try to go to that little light in everybody I meet, and I try to pull that out in them, and it kind of makes my light shine a little better. But I just really think we just have to try. You got to try at being miserable like you do at being happy. So some people just love to wallow around in it. I can stand it as long as I can, and then I get to get out of this. I got to make this better if I can. So I just try to think about. I think people overthink stuff. I think we work too hard at overthinking everything. Just be it, live it, and do the best you can, and move on.
See? Then I just wanted to take the rest of the minutes that we have, just to, because you have, she's got like 100 things going on at the same time. And if it's okay, can we just touch base on, I know you have the musical, you have 9 to 5, you have the Netflix, you have, I don't know, what else if you just bought Gilligan's Island and putting that out there, I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if The Love Boat is returning and you are starring in it. I have no idea.
Well, I'm just like you. I wake up with new dreams every day, and I have, like I say, I'm busy because I've dreamed myself into a corner. So now these dreams have come true, and I have to be responsible for all of them. So I have to get out there and promote, just like we've done our Dumpling soundtrack, the movie on Netflix with Jennifer. And so we got to promote that. And, of course, Dollywood's going to be opening soon. So I got to go back and do that. But now I'm going to London right after the Grammys. They're opening 9 to 5, the musical, over there on the West End at the Savoy. And so I'm going over to kind of get that brushed up. I've added a couple of new songs for that. And then when I come back, we're actually doing a sequel with Jane and Lily after 40 years of 9 to 5. And it's a very interesting thought. Somebody said, how in the hell are 3 old bags like you going to do a sequel to 9 to 5? I said, we're going to call it 95. But But seriously, Pat Resnick came up with this great idea, and I get Rashida Jones, I think, is writing it with her. They came up with the idea of these three girls are still working at Consolidated, that company that we worked at years ago. Well, they're still having a lot of the same problems, all the harassment, not getting paid properly and all that. So these three girls said, well, whatever happened to those three women that made so many great changes so many years ago? They must be out there somewhere. Let's find them and get some input. So they do find us, and we're three important women with our own businesses, different parts of the country. They look us up, and then out of that, I'm sure some very fun things, some meaningful things, some crazy things. So we'll be working with three younger girls and us being who we are. So I thought that was a wonderful vehicle for it. So let's hope it works, and we're going to be doing that pretty soon. So I'm just writing more things, trying to decide what I want to do next, and so I got plenty to do right now.
Will you tell a little bit about the stories, though, like how you started with Red Shoes, but the Netflix turning your songs into little short stories?
Yeah, well, I touched on it a little bit early on, but Netflix.
I wanted you to go into it a little bit more.
They actually, I write, as I mentioned, a lot of story songs, so they have taken the songs and made them into movies. That's actually we did 8 already, and they're going to drop, I guess, in the fall. And so one of them's a Western, because I write all kinds of stories. And there's many great songs, great stories, and we're getting all these wonderful actors in the shows, and people are enjoying it like they used to do Love Boat. All these, Gerald McCraney and Delta Burke are in one called If I Had Wings, and this is the first time they've worked together. They're a married couple, as you know, for many, many years, but it's the first time she's done anything really big since Designing Women, and it's the first time they've done anything together. So the two of them did a wonderful job, on that. So we've got Kathleen Turner is playing a book or a show called These Old Bones. It's a story I wrote about this old clairvoyant woman back in the Smokies that predicted I was going to be doing something special in my life, and she used to scatter these bones. People would come from everywhere to have them read her story. So anyway, so we've got great people like that. We've got all sorts of great things going, and they're excited about it, so maybe they'll pick it up and do it from now on. If not, it's been a really good time working with Sam Haskell, my partner, on that, and so we're just doing some good stuff. And I'm in some of the movies. We did Jolene, by the way, with Julianne Hough. Yeah. That'll be one of them. She did a beautiful job, made a beautiful Jolene. And I'm actually in that movie playing a barkeep on a tavern that she sings at. And so, but on every one of the shows, I introduce them up front and talk about how I wrote it, why I wrote it, and then we go into the story. So I'm in some of them, I act in some of them, but I introduce them all, so I'm kind of all over it, really. Yeah. But anyway, I think people will enjoy it, because it's like you don't get to see these kind of shows anymore. Everything's so high tech, and so it's just kind of really hard. It's called Heartstrings is the name of the series, and I think there's a whole lot of people out there my age or in that middle age that would really like to see these kind of family shows. Our little Coat of Many Colors did really good, and the Christmas Circle of Love did good. So I think there's some of those shows that a lot of just regular people still like to watch, and hopefully that'll be so, and I'll get to continue with that.
Speaking of Coat of Many Colors, so Dolly, this whole week has been for me, I'm just totally stressed out, and I have a lot of anxiety because, one, I'm playing with Dolly on Music Cares at the end, and we're doing Coat of Many Colors, just me and her. And then I'm doing the big, medley that she's playing at the Grammys, and we have Katy Perry and Casey Musgraves singing, and Miley's coming out to sing Big Little Town, and you're going to do a 95 thing, and we're playing Red Shoes. So I've been okay, I just got this, and Jolene. And I was I just got to make this perfect for Dolly. And literally, I'm not sleeping. Because you're going to do a medley for Dolly Parton on the Grammys. That's like heavy fucking duty shit.
Oh.
I've been freaking out. I'm not gonna lie. In fact, I've been freaking out while she's been talking, thinking about, holy fuck, I gotta do that goddamn
Well,
thing.
you'll do great at that because
okay.
you've put a great band together. I
Yeah,
have to
the
say.
band is awesome. The band is like, band guys. They're not even session players, but I'm so excited about it. We're gonna end this now, and you guys have been really great. This has been an incredible experience. Thank you for letting me jump on. And I guess for me, I know that you have a bazillion like things that you say, but like just feeling the vibe right now. And is there anything you would leave these people with? Like anything?
Love. Love. I just want to say it's been a joy working with you, and I know you're crazy, and that's why I love you. But I mean, just to have this whole week be so, I just feel so honored, and I hope I don't screw up your band.
Well, thank you to the Recording Academy for having us today, and thank you, Dolly, for coming. And you're going to go see the exhibit. Let's stand up for her.